QueerWise is a group we started about 8 years ago, and initially was filling a need for LGBTQ seniors who didn't really have a voice then. Now it seems that several groups have sprouted up, which is flattering, to address that dearth of classes for people who needed to speak, needed to tell their stories. Story, story, story. We can't get enough stories. Like these stories were just so beautiful and so, I mean, you know, you hear, you read, but to hear the personal investment that you made and the way you told your stories was incredible, just so beautiful. And so, but we've evolved, you know, and we've now brought in a few younger people, younger voices to infuse the older people in the group, give us some new, fresh energy. We just did a show called The Woman in Me, and you can imagine that that was interesting because it was the men doing the show as well as the women. And we just did that at the Jewish Community Center in Silver Lake. It was very, very successful. We've added music and musicians, and we had images on the wall, and it was a big extravaganza. It's been very exciting, and it's in great part to writers and poets and writers, and to Jamie's help, and Delana and Michelle has really been supportive of our group, and we wouldn't be functioning if it weren't for that support. Emotionally as well as financially, that they believe in what we're doing, and it's very gratifying to have someone believe in you, because so many of us, as so many of you, have been disenfranchised and you know, discarded along the way. So it's nice to not be disenfranchised and to be warmly, if not warmly, at least accepted on some level, right? So I'm going to read something from my new work, which is called Wet Hankies, which I'm actually premiering on Sunday. The smell was like an alarm clock going off full blast, waking me from a deep sleep, because I always believed, I did always believe the last time was the last time I wanted to believe, or did I? That smell. In pitch blackness, the smell seemed stronger, tangy, and sickeningly sweet. Could it have been aqua velva? He moved without making a peep. I thought the smell was my imagination because there was no sound, no creaking of the floor, no rustling of the sheets. When he climbed on the bed, it didn't matter whether my eyes were wide open or closed tight. The only sense that worked was smell, until I heard. I heard the zipper of my Bermuda shorts. I had worn them to bed just in case, and that's when I knew he was there. No, I whispered, no, please don't. I pushed at him, not roughly, but meaning it. My girlfriend, Elizabeth, his niece, was in the room right next to the one he put me in. Now, you better stay in your room, kiddos, he'd say every night, at least twice, always sneering in my direction. I could not let her know what he was doing. Liz and I were boyfriend and girlfriend in junior high. After the sound of the zipper, after he refused to hear me, even though I repeated, no, no, please don't, no. I went into another world, a world of escape, a wet world, as his mouth slid up and down and down and up my hard dick. I felt better. Okay, good. No bad dreams of my dad's voice, my mother's crying, no one making fun of me. I stopped saying no. I stopped smelling that aftershave or cologne or perfume he was wearing. I wanted to make good sounds, yummy sounds. That's how good it felt. That's how fucking good. But she was next door, my girlfriend Liz, his niece, and we were spending the weekend. As he zipped me up, As that sound only a zipper makes, it was like the curtain closed and I am flooded with his sickening smell, and I almost vomit. Every time this occurs, almost throw up, regurgitate. Don't hear him leave, the uncle, a confirmed bachelor. Don't hear the sheets rustle or the floors creak, but I do taste puke in my mouth. And I do feel hot, sticky stuff on my tummy and my zipper. And that smell is on every part of my body, on my clothes, my hair, my fingernails, my dick, especially my dick, and balls, inside my mouth and my teeth, the inside of my ears, the inside of my ass. Everything smells like that perfume, that cologne, that aftershave. Could it have been Aquavelva? A confirmed bachelor, the uncle, an Aquavelva man? Before graduating from high school, I had what I called a boyfriend who was exactly twice my age. I was 16. Since he was my first boyfriend, I didn't know if this was the custom, but he passed me around his friends like a dime store novel, and sometimes called them my uncles. Uncle Jonathan would like to make you dinner tonight, the boyfriend would say. Then when we got there, the boyfriend would call Uncle Jonathan Shirley or Marge. And after dinner, these uncles, unlike my real uncles, would suck my dick or make me fuck them. Almost all of them would play opera records, either that or a record that had just come out, Judy at Carnegie Hall. One of the uncles, named Jerome, also known as Flo, forced me to suck his dick immediately after dinner. I mean forced. I gagged and ran to the bathroom to throw up. Jerome Florence turned up the volume on Judy. I had only been in Hollywood a couple of years or so when I heard about a bisexual TV actor of a certain age, rumored to be a commie, former lover of Harry Hay, who was having a comeback of sorts on a family show that took place on a mountain. He wasn't a confirmed bachelor, but he did hold Friday night bachelor parties in his West Hollywood digs for young actors who were observed from a chair where he sat, somewhat regally, in spite of his dusty overalls. If he thought that you might catch on to iambic pentameter, you'd be invited to read a Shakespeare script on a Sunday afternoon at his ranch. Most of the contestants the night I attended didn't look as if they could spell Shakespeare, so I was picked, albeit with not much enthusiasm. I was chosen by Grandpa to read Uncle Will, even though at 20 I was over the hill. It was an all-male party, so I guess that makes it a bachelor party, in Hollywood, late 70s, in the home of Alan Carr, the career maker, Anne Margaret, turned movie producer, Grease, who wore caftans to confirm his gayness. He gave a party in honor of Elton John. He wasn't a sir then, just a queen. The conceit of the party was that the hottest boys in Hollywood were on the guest list, and at one moment in the evening, the party would turn into an open call, which those of us deemed worthy would stand in a line that snaked through the Benedict Canyon digs where Kim Novak, I think, used to romp to shake hands with Elton. And in that moment, not unlike a go-see for a modeling job, it was incumbent upon you to impress the songbird so that you'd be chosen for his fuck of the night. Oh, even on the hetero dating game, which had a notorious queen as the host, gave the mostly gay contestants a few questions to answer in order to compete to be the ladies' date. Elton had to go by his basest instincts, choose you by how you looked or smelled. Even though I knew I wouldn't win, I was hurt, humiliated. Back on the gym field, being rejected, not good enough. Did the other beauty pageant contestants, except the chosen one, feel as denigrated as I did? Would they carry that hurt inside them for the next decade or two? well, that was then. This is now. Now we have gay adoption, gay marriage, big gay ice cream, and the gayest show ever seen on network television, The Bachelor. Thank you. I would like to introduce a very special man who has been involved he's straddled lots of communities, including a teacher and the theater world of Broadway and of film world also, of Pocahontas and other big seller movies. So he's done it all and been around, and then decided later in life to write, and he's been faithful QueerWise member since the very beginning. And so he's grown with the group, and he's helped the group grow also. So without further, Jim Pentecost.
I wrote this as part of Gay Pride Month. One of the prompts was about people or mentors or people who are important in our life. Remembering Fritz. "Still schlepping," Fritz exclaimed as we moved the large platform down the narrow hallway to get ready for the afternoon rehearsal in April of 1983. For the Gentiles in the room, schlepping is a Yiddish word for a journey and dragging things from one place to another. And drag we did, in more ways than one, which you will soon discover. Born George W. Holt III, but known to everyone as Fritz, we had met in 1978 at the Hudson Guild, which was a small 90-seat theater off Broadway on West 26th Street, New York. I was a young stage manager of a one-person musical called The Mad Woman of Central Park West, featuring Phyllis Newman. Phyllis had written a thinly veiled account of her own life, trying to balance her career as an actress and the wife of famed lyricist Adolph Green, as well as the mother of 2 kids. The show was co-authored and directed by Arthur Lawrence, who had written the classic musicals West Side Story and Gypsy. Fritz, along with his producing partner Barry Brown, had come at Arthur's behest to see whether The Mad Woman was worthy of a transfer to Broadway. I was anxious to meet him. Me, a 27-year-old at the beginning of my career, and Fritz, who had been the stage manager for the legendary Hal Prince on the Broadway productions of Company and Follies, as well as the producer of the recent revival of Gypsy starring Angela Lansbury. Mad Woman was the beginning of a relationship with Fritz that deepened over the next 10 years. Fritz became like the big brother I never had. He recognized in me a kindred spirit who aspired to be like his big brother, who loved the musical theater as much as he did, and me, the younger brother, in whom he could confide and know the secrets would be safe. He could instantly diffuse any tense situation with a withering look and say, "Don't you take that tone with me. Your sister used to get that edge in her voice," which was a line from the musical Gypsy. When he would leave the room, his parting line was, "Love ya hat, see you Thursday," a line from some obscure show. What turned out to be the culminating production in our relationship was the 1983 Broadway musical La Cage aux Folles. For this show, Fritz once again donned his stage manager's headset. I was his assistant, and truly learning from my big brother. After the opening in August of 1983, Fritz went on to produce the various companies, while I took over the New York production. For a while, everything at La Cage was like the Jerry Herman song, "The Best of Times." Then, AIDS. The presence of AIDS was being felt strongly in the Broadway community then. It was only a matter of time before the shoe, or in our case, a high heel, would drop. First, it was one of our Cagels, and then our masterful makeup and hairstylist, Teddy Azar. Others quickly followed. We forget the speed and viciousness of the epidemic, that after that initial diagnosis, there was a steady decline, accompanied by fast-moving, painful, and horrifying infections. There were no known cures, and most of these men died. Fritz got his diagnosis in the fall of 1986. He confided in me. He was so fearful that if the news got out, he would not be able to do the very thing he loved. He was determined to beat it. There were some cutting-edge therapies in California that his doctors had recommended. Since he had elderly parents on the West Coast, he could cover his absences. For a while, he was doing well. Then in June of 1987, it all changed. Fritz and Barry were producing a benefit at the Palace Theater for the Actors Fund to celebrate George Abbott's 100th birthday. Fritz would direct the show. He was not doing well during the rehearsal week. The day of the benefit, Fritz was running a high fever and looked terrible. He had lost so much weight, and the clothes hung on his lanky frame. He came backstage before the show. He was wearing light makeup to help create the illusion of health. I was at the stage manager's desk when he put his hands on my shoulders. In a profound way, the younger brother had grown up these last few years and stepped into his big brother's shoes. "Break a leg," he said. I watched him as he slowly crossed the stage. After the show, I saw Fritz in the green room, sprawled out on the couch, accepting congratulations. He looked terrible, but he was so happy that the show was a success. I helped him up the stairs to his limo. He was not going to the after party at Roseland. Before getting into the car, he turned and simply said, "Thanks, Jim." I gave him a hug, helped him into the car. He flashed that winning smile and said, "Love your hat." And at the same time, we both said, "See you Thursday." We laughed. I closed the car door. I didn't know it then, but that would be the last time I ever saw him. I don't know.